Let you guys. Hello.
Oh, my mouse. I need to get my
We
mouse.
are
I'm
live.
still here.
We are
Just need to
live.
get my mouse.
Okay. Neil's just jumped out of the room. Hi,
Now get
guys.
my
Welcome
mouse.
back to the Arsenal 101 Forum, Premier League review. I believe we're in week 26. I'm joined by Dave and I'm joined by Neil. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Some of our standard crew are away today, so we're missing a few of the usual heads, but we'll get through it. We actually have quite a lot of football to talk about. But first of all, guys, how you doing, Neil?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, It's been a
Excellent.
long week, long and tiring week, and I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Excellent. And it's great because I've got the two protagonists in the room for this Sunday's Carabao Cup final. Dave, how you been, buddy?
Yeah, not bad, Bingo. I've just seen that Romeo strike as well. Jesus.
Yeah, it was a serious shot.
Yeah, great
Looked
goal.
Good, mate. Looked good.
But yeah, let's crack on. Let's get going.
Excellent. So it has been an action-packed week. I mean, we're really still in that week, almost. But yeah, let's go back to Saturday. A long list of fixtures. We'll start off. West Ham were the early kickoff against Newcastle. That ended up being 1-1. What can we say? What are your feelings on that game, boys? Anyone?
Newcastle are now making me eat my words because I still think they're probably going to go down, but they're definitely making sure I end up with egg on my face. So no, that was a pretty good game. They did well. They did well. They carry on doing that for the next 3-4 games. They'll be safe. Definitely be safe.
I mean, I think Newcastle have got such a feel-good vibe about the club at the moment, and I think it's obviously the ownership taken over, the fact that they've made signings, and they've made smart signings as well. I think like they haven't just thrown money, at these transfers and gone, let us get who we want kind of thing. It's mostly about, this guy make calculated signings, and they're paying off. Obviously, Trippier is now injured.
Yeah, I was going to say the most calculated signing is Trippier, and he's now injured. So we'll have to see how they, how well they play without him, because he's made a big difference since he's come in. He's made that difference. And they look a lot more stronger. They look a lot better from behind as well. And set pieces, they're even better on set pieces. Well, at least one of them is the victory was attributed to his goal, right? From a set piece. So,
I mean, the fact that Trippier has worked well. I think Dan Burn has done really well there. They look a lot more assured at the back with him like playing the centre half as well. I mean, I thought he was if I have to be honest, I thought he was like more of a free centre half, if that makes sense. Free at the back and be that third centre half that can slot in. But playing as a two, he's done really well. And the thing is, like, they're probably their biggest profile signing, Bruno Guimaraes. He hasn't really played, has he?
I haven't even noticed him.
Yeah. So I think they're probably either getting him up to speed with the Prem, with kind of like the Prem place. And I think he's going to make it. He was touted for a lot of top teams as well, and he's joined Newcastle. So I think you'll find, all right, Trippier is going to be a massive loss for them in this kind of relegation race, but hopefully he can come in and keep that kind of good vibes that the club has. But I think they'll stay up. I don't see any reason. Like they look like they're on the ball with everything now. They're nicking points and they're getting wins. And I think they've really got the fans behind them. It's not just a club that's got fans behind them for the sake of being behind them, if that makes sense. It's more so they've got the fans behind them because they genuinely want the club to move forward. So yeah,
they're not totally out of it yet, but they're going in the right direction and they're doing all the right things. They just need a few more 3-pointers rather than the single point games.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about a club in a minute who I think are seriously in trouble, but we'll move on to the next one, Tone.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about my team next because it's come up because, alphabetical order, the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, Arsenal at home to Brentford, a game which we played well in. played well. We created a lot of opportunities. This was one of those games where I can actually say for the first time in a long time, I could see the process. Yeah, a lot of people are talking, trust the process. And you probably heard me say for weeks on end, I don't know what the process is because I can't see the style of play. But this game was one where I can actually say, okay, having come through the transfer window, having had a dodgy January, we came out this game and, we had what we had. The team pretty much picks itself. Arsenal are not bereft with enough players to be able to swap and change players in different positions. So we played what we had that was fit, and we played a style of play that kept us on the front foot. We pressed in a certain manner that was half decent. I wouldn't say it's anything as close to the Liverpool press or the Man City press, but it was half decent. And then we came out and we scored. We sort of were a bit slow in the first half, but the second half we came up much faster, much stronger. And then we got 2 goals through our young Haaland products in Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka. And then let a silly one go in the last couple of minutes to make the game a little bit tight. But we pretty much controlled the game from top to bottom. It did require a little bit of a step up with the pace of the game in the second half. Decent goals. Emil Smith-Rowe, 9 goals, top scorer in the Premier League for Arsenal. Ridiculous amount of goals. I mean, between him and Jared Bowen, you kind of go, where have these guys come from? Because all of a sudden, you've got 2 guys jumped on the scene in the same way, for instance, Willop did last year, and are banging in goals from midfield. But yeah, that's my take on that game. Anybody else want to talk about it at all?
Yeah, I think when you look at, I think Arsenal are a team where the puzzle's almost complete, if that makes sense, to get back to top 4 status. And I say almost complete because I think you needed. I think that Vlahovic signing for me would have probably put you as a top 4 side, and I would have probably put money on you for top 4. I'll probably still put money on you for top 4, but it's just not as good of. I haven't got the same feeling as if you went out and got that Vlahovic signing. But I don't think there's any question about Arteta being a great coach. I think it's always a question about Arsenal's backing, and I don't know. I think Arteta is. I mean, I think the thing with Arteta is he's a great coach, and I think you may not have seen it at Arsenal, but anywhere that he was going to go after Arsenal, if he got sacked, for example, I think whatever team he was going to go to next, he would have been successful.
Okay.
So it might not have worked out at Arsenal, but looking at this season, it is working. It just shows that and what he's doing is he is coaching players as well,
it's working in so much as currently we sit in 5th place in a good position with games in hand on teams above us.
Yeah.
However, we all know you go a couple of games without a win and you can suddenly find yourself in 8th or 9th. So I'm not jumping up and down and protesting, this is it, the next coming of Christ. I know a lot of Arsenal fans, and some of them are very much in on the process and are very Arteta in. I'm not Arteta in, I'm not Arteta out. I'm going to wait until the end of the season and see where we finish. My expectations, as I say many a time, was 7th at the start of this season.
So he's already kind of exceeded that in a way, but I think at the same time, we
could still easily get back there. That's the point.
100%. There are so many teams in that top 4 race that you could find yourself, like you said, a couple of wins, maybe a couple of draws, a couple of games without winning. You slump down the table a little bit, but I think this Arsenal side, obviously we'll talk about the win, I imagine, yesterday, but these are good wins. They're very, very good wins. Brentford at home, I know it's not every game is tough in the Prem. I know that's kind of like a saying, but you see teams like Brentford at home, and you think, oh, you know what? If we're not careful, that can be a 1
we
point
lost
game.
to Brentford on the first day of the season. So
but the thing is, the thing with you guys, and especially the fans, is that the fans need to allow the process to work. You need to have the patience. Arteta, what Arteta is doing, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to be as good as Klopp, but he's kind of followed the same sort of way as Klopp. As long as he gets the backing and he's given the time and the players, because remember the players that Klopp brought in, none of them were great players. I mean, the biggest name he kind of brought in would have been Virgil van Dijk, and he wasn't setting where he came from. He wasn't setting that league ablaze as well. It's being able to bring in the right players, develop them, and make things work. Arteta can do that for you guys, but you have to have patience and you have to have, allow the process to work. It's starting to work now. Throughout this season, it's working more and more. All right, you may not end up in fourth, you may end up in fourth, but this process isn't going to happen over one season. You need to give him 1, 2, 3 seasons. 2 years from now, if he's still there, you lot will be doing a lot better than you are doing now. But it's about bringing those players in and making them embedding, allowing them to communicate and play and get to know one another better. He's been doing that with youth. Most teams, right, especially the big teams, they wouldn't do that. They'll be buying those players in, and maybe touching 1 or 2 youth. So I mean, for me, I think Arteta's done well, and I think it will only improve. Unfortunately, for the teams around them, we're all going to feel that. But he's done something similar to what Klopp has done. Klopp, remember when Klopp came in, Liverpool was struggling. We were lucky to get 7 within the top 6, top 7. Give him a couple of seasons. Look what we've won under him now. Because we gave him time.
I think the thing is, like, he's made smart investments, but also, like, I think when he first come in, I want to say, I believe there's only like 6 first team players or 7 first team players that are there from when he first joined as manager. So he is starting to really make his mark on the team, and he should really have the players that he wants now. And I think this season, if he can get top 4, he's capitalised on it, and then you can go out and get the Isaacs that he might have wanted after Vlahovic if you get Champions League football. I do think if he can get Champions League football, it's a big achievement for him, and then he can go out and get the signings that he wants. But Arsenal, they're looking good. Looking good, Tona. I'll give you that.
There's so much I can say about that. I'm not going to go into it because we got a lot to go through. But I kind of feel like I've made my case. I'm trusting the process, hoping that we can have a good, positive end to the season, because there is nothing else to play for at this stage except the league. I do realise that it can quite easily fall apart. We've got difficult games to come. We still got to play City. We still got to play Liverpool. Still got to play Chelsea. So there's going to be games which we're guaranteed to lose almost. Obviously, those around us will also be dropping points here and there. But we'll see how that goes. I'll move on to the next game, which was Aston Villa at home to Watford. This was a bit of a shocker. I don't think any of us picked this as a Villa win last week. A Watford win last week. Watford didn't seem to be doing much previous weeks, but they managed to squeeze a 1-0 win. Anyone want to make any comment on that game?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked with that game, to be honest. I mean, how many games is it now that Gerrard has lost in a row? It's quite a few now. And when he first, for me, it feels like the honeymoon period is now over. Clearly, it's a lot different. The Premier League's a lot different to where he's coming from. And if he doesn't get proper financial backing and the proper players in, Villa are going to start to struggle. But with the game with Watford last week, I mean, they looked okay for periods of the game, but clearly not enough, and they didn't have the finishing.
I mean,
the funny thing is, before you go, Dave, the interesting thing is, Villa have lost 13 games this season.
Yeah,
that's pretty poor. I mean, they've been lucky in that they've won most of their other games. But they're literally one of the they literally are still one of the worst teams in the league, based on teams that have lost games. I mean, Burnley, who sit third bottom, have lost only 9. Newcastle, who sit fourth bottom, have only lost 10. And teams beneath them have lost the same or similar amounts.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I thought Villa had a very good transfer window. I thought they did, and I think Coutinho coming in, Digne coming in as well. Both of them are very established players who have both played at the top level. And I think you have to look and basically say, right, the managerial honeymoon period is over now. They're losing games that they shouldn't be losing if you're kind of... And I think Villa are really trying to break into that kind of, Europa League mix of teams, it looks like. And, these type of games against relegation candidates is so vital that you pick up 3 points here. And at home in front of Villa Park, you have to be winning those games. I mean, I can see what Gerrard's doing, but it's... And I think he will come good for those guys as well. I genuinely believe he'll take them forward. But Watford are such a crafty team under Hodgson, and they've got the players to make teams pay. If you don't kill a team like Watford off now, he'll do what he done at Palace, and he will nick draws, he will nick wins, and they're not going to ever outplay another team. And the reason I say nick is because they'll probably 90% be outplayed by other teams, but they've got the players like Dennis, who can literally put the ball in get you guys on get a team on a hit and run and nick 3 points or nick a draw. So kill them off. You got to kill Watford off in like first half or early second half. Otherwise, the longer they stay about, they'll always.
And the more that the longer they stay in the game, the more chances they start to create towards the end of the game as well. And then they may not create loads, but guaranteed they're going to score at least one of those, and that can mess you up, especially if you haven't scored until then. Or make the game kind of squeaky bum time, like it's they've just scored and you're winning 2-1, but then they become relentless, and it's just like, oh man, how do we keep these 3 points? Sort of thing. That's what you have to watch out with Watford.
So we go from one relegation team getting a result away from home to another relegation team getting a result from home. Burnley go to Brighton and spank them for 3. A great week for Burnley. We'll talk about their other result in the week, but all of a sudden they look a little bit lively.
The thing with Burnley, and not just Burnley, all the teams at the bottom, this is the worst time of the season to play them, because they're kind of thinking, do you know what, we've got nothing to lose now. We're expected to go down. We're just going to go hell for leather. And as we've seen with Watford and Burnley, they managed to get points, 3 points in those games against teams that they should not, in their right mind, be beaten.
I mean, I don't know whether they'd be expecting to go down. I mean, personally, I think Burnley, out of those relegation candidates, are probably mentally the toughest in that kind of bottom 4, 5.
They are, but look at their position at the moment. You look at the position, they look like they're going to go down.
Yeah, but
I think that most seasons, don't they?
I mean, I think that's more so because of the lack of games that they've played. I think they're a couple of games behind, I want to say, or they were. So I think, having the games to come up, I think they're definitely be in a similar position. Don't get me wrong; like they'll be teetering relegation wise, but they've done this. They've gone. They bought the shirt. They've sold it, and then now they're going to try and buy it back. Exactly. I don't know whether it will be enough for them. I think Weghorst is a great signing. You've almost got rid of someone for Chris Wood, who is Burnley proven, if that makes sense, and you've gone and upgraded on him really. So, exactly. And I think Weghorst, I imagine will probably do well. I just don't know if it will be enough. I don't think they've got the squad depth to be able to really get them out of this pickle that they're in.
You mentioned, Dave, they've got games in hand, and quite simply, if they win their 2 games in hand on other teams above them, they could be 14th.
Yeah, they come out.
So it's very tight at the bottom with teams having games in hand. You know, there's literally 4 points between 14th and 19th.
Mm.
You know, so it's very close. So good game for Burnley. They look like they've got some life. Obviously, we'll talk about their next game very soon. Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea boy in the house. So let me hand the floor over to you, Dave. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, Selhurst Park is a really tough place to go to for any club, and it's it's a stadium where their fans make a lot of noise. It's a club that are really on the kind of rise. They made the right signings. Vieira's doing well for them, and I think we've kind of escaped a little bit with 3 points in this game because they had their chances, and I know we did as well. And one of the guy and the guy who scored the goal, Ziyech, he's really rounded into form. Whether he picked up an injury in the Champions League game, whether he'll be out for long is another thing. But it's I think the story of the game is we kept creating chances and we found a breakthrough with Ziyech, who's the form man right now, and the man who's not in form, which is Lukaku. I think 7 touches, I want to say, in the entire game.
I'm hoping he plays on Sunday.
An all-time low. Record low since the Premiership started.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with him, he's just uninterested, and the way that Chelsea play, I don't think we trust him with the ball at his feet. And we look like when we was playing in the Champions League, we like to bounce off our striker in the sense of going, yes, 1-2, give and give it back, just to try and slide the defences over, create little spaces in behind. And the thing with Lukaku is he's there really just to occupy centre halves. And
you've got to put him into banging goals because that's what you were kind of missing, right?
I think so, yeah. But I think what we've seen now is actually what we had before. The thing is, I think you win a title with Romelu Lukaku up front and firing if he could do it like he done at Inter and maybe like at somewhere like Everton. I don't know if we win a title with an interchanging front three of what we've had, which was like Havertz, maybe Pulisic, Werner, Mount, and those guys. But we play a lot better when we play without Lukaku, and I think that's quite not just the eye test proves that, but also I think the stats prove that. I think we lose 17% less of the time when Kai Havertz is on the pitch. So it shows that actually, he's actually quite a crucial player for Chelsea Football Club if you're looking at stats and data. But we got away with one here, created chances, but it's easy for teams to sit in a low block and repel attacks from us because we haven't got that talisman. But luckily we've come up with a goal late on after having one ruled out and managed to get the 3 points.
Yeah, and nice goal from Ziyech. Liverpool. So we go from Dave over to Neil. Neil, talk to us about your 3-1 home win against Norwich.
Well, the most surprising thing, I think that to start with, Liverpool took Norwich for granted. The goal was there was a deflection off the goal, but they still took him for granted. And it was a shock when they went 1-0 ahead. But Liverpool do what they do. They take their time, start stringing passes together, and then start banging in goals. That's what they've done for most of the season. So this game was no different. Norwich should never have scored, in my view. I was really upset when they did, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's good to see our front three in this game all getting a goal. I mean, Luis Diaz, I can't give him enough praise at this moment in time. Not many times do you get a player that comes in from a different league, joins a team in the Premiership, and clicks like he's been playing there for a season or two already.
Bro, you can't give us Origi now, surely.
No. We can't give away Origi. Origi. The thing is,
Come
right?
on, dude.
Listen,
You
the
know I've
thing is,
been talking this up for
listen.
the
I
last
feel sorry.
year, you know.
I feel sorry for Origi, right? I mean, I still can't believe he's only 26. Yeah, he's only 26. Seriously, I actually used to think he was much older than that. I thought he was coming towards the end of his career, and it's purely because he's getting a lack of games. He comes in certain games and he'll score vital goals, and you would have thought, well, maybe this guy could be your super sub, but sometimes he doesn't even make the bench. And I really do feel sorry for him. Yeah, I suppose you can go to Arsenal, but it'll upset me if because he'll probably start banging in goals every time we play you.
That's the idea, mate.
I think he's still got a lot to offer, but he's
Well, you got too many strikers, Neil.
Do you know what? I'm not going to disagree. But then the thing is, when you look at what we've done this season compared to the other seasons, we've taken the domestic cup games a bit more seriously. Yeah. So that's why we still need Origi, especially if going forward, Klopp is looking at, trying to win a domestic cup, because before that, he didn't care about domestic cup. He just thought about the league, and he thought about Europe, and that was it.
I don't think you guys need Origi whatsoever. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player and everything, but I mean,
squad. You got to look at City. City's the one team everybody needs to look at and kind of try to model their teams on. As in,
they don't even have a striker.
They don't.
No. I know, but what I'm saying is, as in, when you look at strength in depth, yeah, they can score from any position on that pitch. Yeah, that's why they don't need a number 9 realistically, because they're banging in goals everywhere else. Yeah, Liverpool aren't doing that. Yeah, we're getting goals and assists from Alexander Arnold. Rarely do you see a goal come from midfield. Yeah, we normally, especially this season, our front three are the top 3 goal scorers this season.
Yeah.
So why do you need the midfield to score if that is their job, Neil? Their job is to score goals.
No, I get that.
I get what you're saying about Man City sharing the goals around their team, which is great and it looks attractive. But let's be honest, if you got 3 strikers of the ilk that you have, and in fact, let's be honest, you got 6. You got 6 strikers who can all bang a goal, have all banged goals this season. You got players. Our top striker currently at the club has 3 goals.
No, I get that. But the thing is, what you got to look at, right? This season has been a very good season for our front 3. Yeah, right. And what you got to look at is you can't just look at what's happening now. You got to look at what's happened in the past. And there have been plenty of games where Salah hasn't bagged a goal, Mane hasn't bagged a goal, Jota hasn't bagged a goal. So you need other players to kind of chip in, right? And that's how City are. I know City for years, even when Aguero was there, because when Aguero was injured, he was out for a big part of the season. But when he came in, he was banging in goals. Yeah. And like when you got players like flipping De Bruyne, come on, man. Yeah. Do you need a striker sometimes? No. But it's nice to know that you've got players across your front to back who, if somebody is failing to bang a goal in, someone else from another position will get into a position and score. I mean, flipping out, we've even got Matip, right? Flipping banging in goals.
Right.
That's a good thing.
All right. Well, I'll agree to disagree with you nicely on that one. We'll move on. Southampton 2, Everton 0. Much of a middle of the road game. Everton really are on hiding to nothing. They're a team that could drop into that relegation zone very quickly. They don't appear to have any confidence whatsoever. And as you mentioned, Dave, Burnley have got games in hand on Everton. Yeah. Could easily find themselves in the bottom 3. I'll move on quickly because the next game, shame Andy isn't here, but what a game! I really like to watch the northern noisy neighbours, but this was actually a very entertaining game to watch. Who wants to talk to me about Man City Spurs?
I'll tell you what. I mean, Kane's been hit and miss. I mean, is he still looking for that City move? Like, this guy, like, hasn't really turned up or kind of turned up when he wanted, and then yeah, it comes to City and he's like, right, let me still make myself available. Let me still make sure that I'm seen by them and make sure I do it at their home ground. And
yeah, but he's proved the point, though, isn't he? He's proved the point that they missed out in that game. He proved the point. Yeah, and
I mean, in that game, yeah. I think this is the thing.
Exclamation mark, isn't it? That's the exclamation mark on the game, right? The player that you wanted to get scores against you and costs you not 1 point but 3 points.
He was fantastic. Like Harry Kane was.
They will go for him. Trust me, they will still go for him because they still need someone up front.
I mean, I don't even know if he's. I mean, do they still need someone up front when they're doing what they're doing? Like, I think that's debatable. I mean, we all say this because it's like, oh, you got to have a big number 9, a big lad around here. I can tell you, being the Chelsea fan, we played better football with the front three that we had in the Champions League against Lille than when we did when Lukaku's in the team.
Yeah,
I mean, look
Dave,
at Liverpool.
Dave,
Look at Liverpool as well.
Let me ask you a question, Dave.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. You got a choice. I come to the table tomorrow to you and say, you can have Harry Kane over Romelu Lukaku. Are you buying in?
Not 100%. I'm buying in.
There
Are you mad? Harry Kane, yeah, he's got better technical ability. He strikes the ball better. His passing now is outrageous. Right. His vision as a footballer is 10 times better than hold up merchant Romelu Lukaku.
Add him to City. Imagine what will happen if he plays at City.
That's all it boils down to, Dave.
And that's what it is.
100%.
City play.
Yeah.
Kane only adds an additional dimension to their play, which makes them almost unbeatable.
Exactly.
100%.
And you think about it, they've wasted their money on Grealish. They can't even get them that money back now, can they?
That's true.
I mean, even Alisson has one less assist this season than Grealish does.
I mean,
he has one less assist.
Listen, we need to look at the thing is with Pep, and there are players that you count out at City, and then they come back or they come next season and they prove everyone wrong. You look at Bernardo Silva, who last year I picked him in fantasy last year. Like we done like a little draft thing. Didn't do nothing for me. I thought, hold on a minute. The year before he was spectacular.
Yeah.
Like, let me draft him. This year, I thought, he ain't going to do nothing this year. He's going to be out the door. No, he's probably one of their most crucial players.
Dave, you're totally right. But what you've got to look at is the amount Grealish cost City. Yeah,
I think the thing
he hasn't even started paying back his bootlaces yet. Let alone anything else.
He's not. But then I think the tone was set at the start of the season with City when Pep said we bought him because of his age and because he's English. That was really the tone setter. I remember hearing that press conference and thinking, you know what, he's going to be not bit part, but he's not going to be a starter. No way over like some of the players that they've got. So I think give it next season with Grealish when he understands tactically what Pep wants to do, and I think you'll look. But I mean, to go back onto like that result with Tottenham, it's just. I mean, we'll speak about Burnley Tottenham in a minute, but Antonio Conte. I mean, we'll speak about his interview in a second. Yeah. So
a very entertaining game. I think we all agreed that was an absolute barnstormer of a game.
Yep.
Brilliant
game.
Best result of the week. Giving Tottenham their flowers had Andy been here. It was, and it looked like the comeback of Harry Kane after the disappointing start of the season he's had. On Sunday, we saw Wolves play Leicester. Wolves, deceptively, are very strong European candidates, having amassed a number.
I wouldn't say that was deceptively. I wouldn't say that was deceptive at all.
Well,
they're a good
I
side.
think they're going under the radar. Side. I think they're going under the radar. They've
gone under the radar all season, though. I think.
Exactly.
I think now it's almost like that kind of sense of they've been under the radar for so long that now it's like you got to take them seriously, and I think that's why the Arsenal win last night.
Even last season they did well as well. They did well last season. They're doing well. You know, you cannot. That's one thing you cannot take for granted anymore.
Yeah. So they did a number on Leicester, 1-2-1.
And let's talk about Leicester quickly. Just because, like, Rodgers has got to a point now where he was touted for the United job at some point. He was touted for a lot of jobs, actually. And now at Leicester, it looks like they've taken a step back, mostly because of injuries, I'll be honest. But he's brought in players to replace them. You know, Vardy's injured, a proven Prem player. But they got Patson Daka, who has done it and then hasn't done it. He's hit and miss on times. You got Yuri Tillemans now, who's refusing to sign another contract for Leicester, who's probably going to go to a top 4 team or a bigger club than what Leicester are now. So, I mean, I feel like with Brendan Rodgers, he maybe should have gone to United. I know it's at that point in time, it's all good in hindsight, I understand, but at the same time, he had an opportunity to really elevate and almost go, right, you know, winning the FA Cup, is it going to get better than this at Leicester? You know, can we do the miracle again? I don't think so. And I think this is probably this is the season now that I think we kind of go, right, Leicester are slowing down now. And
without disrespect to Rodgers, but Rodgers is not that man for any of the top teams. Realistically,
really?
No, he's not. He's not. In my view, he's not. He struggled at Liverpool. Yeah. He did well when he went. He did well when he went north, right? And basically, there was only 2 teams in that league. Yeah. And when he took over, they were a winning team anyway. Yeah. So it's not like he had to do much. Yeah.
I don't know.
Remember, he went from Swansea, right, to Liverpool. Yeah, and everybody thinking, oh yeah, he's going to take Liverpool forward, blah blah blah. Yeah, I give him credit that one season he came second, but other than that, outside of that, I don't know
where you're going, Neil.
Hold on. Outside of that was I think a 7th and the 8th, either side of that too.
Yeah, but I think that second place really kind of showed that he has the pedigree for it.
So that's one season. He was there for more than one season. Yeah, he has one good season.
I think it's
and they still didn't win it. They still didn't win it.
I'm actually going to say what is happening to Leicester is actually what is happening to Leeds.
Yeah.
You're going to have a season where you fly, and then the fatigue hits in. The next season, it's very hard to keep up that standard. And you know what? This is like, Dave will appreciate this. This is like the NFL. Some teams flourish one season, and you think, here we go, we're on it. We could be Super Bowl champions next season. And all of a sudden, it falls.
Yeah, but Leicester and Leeds, the difference between Leicester and
Leeds and Leicester, last year, both teams looked fantastic, had long, good runs. Both teams play a type of football which is very fast, physical, requires a lot of engine from your players, and they have small squads. So if you lose a Vardy, you're in trouble. Leeds are the same. Last year, they flew out the traps at everybody. They were beating teams left, right, and centre. I just think the fatigue has struck in this season, and they can't get up to that level they were at last year.
I don't think it's just the fatigue. I mean, at the end of the day, what you've also got to look at is that when they came in, they were new to the league, so people didn't know what to expect. They knew they were doing well in the Championship, right? And a lot of teams took them for granted, right? And that's why they did so well last season. I mean, I'm not going to take away some of their victories, because some of their victories, and when they were banging goals, was good. This season, most teams know how they play now. It's a lot more difficult.
I don't think their intensity is. I don't think they're nearly as intense as they were last season. Dave, what do you think?
I think
they've been sussed out, man. They've been sussed out.
I don't know. I do think injuries have hit them massively. I think they've actually. I can recall quite a few games where, especially more so December, where they had to play youth players on the bench because they never really had that many players that they could even start. I mean, at one point they're putting Dan James up front because obviously Bamford injured. That the young lad as well, I think was injured as well. So I do think that they have been plagued by injuries, and if they and they're very reliant on Rafinha, who is a fantastic player, and it's not. I think with Leeds, it's for the amount of time that they've had without their starting 11, shall we say. I think it's probably affected them more than a lot of other teams as well. But I mean, Bielsa's got a job on his hands here. He has to keep them up. They're not out of the woods. Yeah, they're in that scrap as well. And games, I know you're not expected to beat United and beat Liverpool, but at the same time, you know you have to try and get something from those from games like that if you're going to survive. You look at Burnley getting a win against Tottenham. It just shows mentally as well. Kind of a team like Burnley can string 2 wins back together.
Yeah. So we started talking about Leeds. Of course, they went 2-0 down, came back to 2-2, and then fell away at the end. And I looked again. That's the game I watched, and I just felt they up their intensity. They're a match for anybody. But when the intensity dies, which it generally has, it looks like that's what's going on in their games. They can't keep it up.
They don't have any plan B whatsoever. The thing is that they're almost the same as like they will literally say, right, it's plan A or nothing. And if plan A works, then they're always kind of in with a shout for games. But if plan A ain't working, they've got nothing on the bench to kind of go to a plan B or C. They've got no way to switch it up. And if you look at, I mean, at the start of the season, I think they got battered by United, didn't they, as well? So it's kind of, United, it's one of United's better teams that they play against.
Yeah, but Bielsa only has one way of playing. And he's not changing that.
So talk to me,
have
Neil.
Had injuries and stuff like that, but that's the way he is.
I want you to go from one Leeds game where they showed some fight to another game where they got completely demoralised. What happened? Liverpool 6, Leeds 0. Talk to me.
They got totally outplayed. From the first minute to the last minute. Yeah, they got
intensity missing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't. I'll agree with you that there was some intensity missing. But come on, man, you're talking about playing one of the top teams. Yeah, that score would never have happened had they played a Watford or a Burnley. Yeah, or even a Wolves. That would have never have happened. It just happens that right now Liverpool are on song. If you look at all the games that Liverpool have played, the last 3-4 games, they've just been on song and they've been banging in goals. They've been doing well. So I mean, for me, it was just the Leeds came against Liverpool at the wrong time. Yeah, at the wrong time.
What you just, I'll go against what you just said because Leeds lost 3-0 to Everton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
which
I
to
get
me,
that.
And Liverpool struggled to a 1-0 win against Burnley. So it kind of tells me that teams that can keep their levels up are going to do better against the top teams if you can keep your level of intensity up. Whereas Leeds, for me, they're whipping boys right now. They literally are whipping boys. They've conceded 4, 10, 13 goals in 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
who did they concede those goals against? Liverpool, United, and who was the other team?
Everton.
There you go.
Yeah, but
Everton are struggling. That would, to be honest, that result against Everton was a shock to me, to be honest, because Everton, they're also on a 3-4. They're on a 3-4. They're actually in the worst. They're playing worse than Leeds, to be honest, in some games.
I mean, with Leeds, I think they are a team that you know what you're going to get. So I presume mentally going into a game against Leeds, you think, right, we have to match their off the ball runs as much as any other team. And I think, a team where you look in the change, when you're lining up in the tunnel, you think, right, they're not going to give us anything today, but they're gonna line up. And I always think, like the big score lines against them, they're still going to play the way that they play. Like it's not like they go 2-2 to United and go, you know what, we're going to sit back. They will still push.
That's the difference between Leeds and Burnley. Yeah, Burnley are good at messing up play. They're good at defending. yeah, when they throw all their players and the bus on that pitch, it's difficult to score against Burnley. Yeah, Leeds don't play. If Leeds play that way, they wouldn't have got spanked by Liverpool. They wouldn't have got beaten by United. Yeah, they go forward. That's all they do is they go forward, and that's how they mess teams up because teams aren't expecting them. And then as soon as they score a goal, that attacking team starts shutting up shop. Yeah, and trying to catch them on a counter. That's how Leeds wants you to play. Yeah, when they came against Liverpool, that did not happen. When they came against United, first half when it went up to 2-2, yeah, but then they started, they kept going forward and they gave United chances at the back, and United took them.
Okay.
Yeah?
So I'm going to rush through the last couple of games that happened this week. Burnley won 1-0 at Spurs.
That was a surprise.
Which started a meltdown at Spurs.
You'll have to
I'm not
see
going
it.
to talk about the game, but I do want to hear if anyone's got any commentary about what you think is going to happen with Antonio Conte.
Oh, mate, he's got a. I think what he's finding is Tottenham's very different to the other clubs that he's managed, and I think the team. I think the players that he's got. The thing with Antonio Conte and what I knew at Chelsea was he loves to trust players. He loves to trust players. Hence why when Victor Moses and Marcus Alonso are your wing backs in a team that had won the most Premier League games consecutively until I think City done it the other I don't know the other year or whenever they did it. When he finds players that he trusts, he sticks with them. What he's realised at Tottenham is he's got no players that he can really, really trust to perform week in, week out and do what he wants. And I think he's sick of it. And I think he's looking at those players and he's going, I want to see, like in a war, you want to look around you and you want to see the soldiers that you're with and you want to go, yeah, we've got a shot today. We've got an opportunity to win every single game. I think he hasn't got that, and it's so inconsistent that's probably annoyed him more than anything. Winning against City and losing against Burnley's probably annoyed him more than if it was reversed. If he lost against City and then beat Burnley, so he's probably thinking.
His mental breakdown. Sorry, his mental breakdown is not also about what's happening on the pitch because that's one side, but then the other side it's what's happening off the pitch. He hasn't dealt with anyone like Daniel Levy, ever has he?
No,
and that's probably got to be playing on his mind as well because Daniel Levy is not a nice man. Let's put it that way. I know this is like a PG show, so I won't actually say what I really want to say. Right? He's a difficult man to deal with at times, yeah. And there were probably, as I said when I sent that message, that there were probably targets, and Andy has said that the target was top 4, right? So depending on what conversation happened on that side of the business, maybe that also added to his kind of meltdown because no manager normally acts like that, even if they beat City and then lose to Burnley. There's got to be more to it than what we've seen so far.
probably.
And I think it's on the. There's also repercussions on the back end and what he's going to have to go through. Maybe he's not going to get any more budget. We don't know. We have to see. But I think he'll stay out. I think he'll stay there at least till the end of the season.
But back-to-back wins for Burnley, though.
Yeah. They're looking like the team that we saw last year. That if I'm being honest, I can see them getting out of a scrap. The team that I think are actually in free fall and look most likely to drop in there is Everton.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I mean, I think people are going. They're too. I think all of our mindsets, because we've always known Everton as a Premier club, is they're too big to go down. But I think if they keep thinking like that, almost, I think they will go down.
When Newcastle first went down, they were a Prem team that were too big to go down, and they've gone down more than once.
So we'll see what happens.
None though were bigger than Leeds though, because when Leeds went down,
exactly, that was a shock to everyone.
That was the biggest one, I think. Anyway, I'll move on. Arsenal beat Wolves last night. I was at the game with Apollo. Thank you very much, Apollo, for inviting me. I've been to quite a lot of games this season at Arsenal, and I've got to be honest, that was the best game I've seen at Arsenal all season. And going back to my favourite word for today's show, intensity. The intensity was decent in the first half, but was ramped up in the second half and even made even better with the addition of Nicola Pepe and Eddie Nketiah. 15 minutes to go from the end of the game when we were chasing it. Those two substitutions, which were so welcome at the time, made a huge difference. One pass to the other for the first goal, the equaliser, and both were involved in the second goal. So, great result against a very good Wolves team, again, they're going to be just under the radar because if they had won, they'd be properly in the battle for top four. With losing, they sit just under the European place.
Yeah.
So, again, they're just on the edge and they're teetering on the edge of a European spot. So I'm going to move on from that and talk about who played Champions League this week.
We did. So, big win for us. Although I think I'm not going to say the tie's done, but at the same time, it's a case of going into Lille 2-0 up. I don't think you can see Chelsea conceding two or more goals, and I think we'll nick one as well. So I've in all fairness, I mean, you're probably going to clip this, and I've got a good. I'm very good at speaking and it going the other way. For example, I think you can kind of say that we're 80% through. I imagine.
Yeah, I agree.
United and Atletico as well.
United went through. United, drew 1-1 with Atletico. A game that Atletico should have scored about 5 goals.
Oh yeah.
Hit the crossbar twice. Just lucky United, but they keep in the game, and now they get a home tie to try and get past. And I wouldn't put it past them.
I think they'll win. I don't. I think the thing is with United, like there are teams like Liverpool, it seems, and City that have that can sustain the performances in the league, and can do that. There's nothing stopping teams like Chelsea and teams like United from going, you know what, in a two-leg game, why can't we go through? And I think not that I'm saying that us or United are going to win it or we can win it again, but at the same time, you can't discount those teams like us because in one-off ties, all it takes is a result like they've gone to Madrid and got to be able to go, right, you know what, let's take it back to Old Trafford. But knowing United like we do, they'll probably mess it up at Old Trafford. And Simeone will probably do some magic there. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
We will indeed. So that brings us on to this weekend's fixtures. Obviously, I'm going to go straight into the Carabao Cup final. Gentlemen, what are your keys to victory? Start with you, Neil.
Front three and trying to keep a clean sheet. So, it will be won and lost on the front three and the back. I say back four, but realistically, they're back three. If Alexander-Arnold plays well, I think he will be the key to unlocking Chelsea, especially from set pieces. Yeah, Salah's going to do his thing. As long as he gets chances, he'll be banging them in. No Bobby, unfortunately. Mane will be there. Diaz, will he start? Because he's doing really well and he's linking up really well with Robertson as well.
Would you not play Jota though?
Do you know what? Jota got a little bit of a knock anyway. Yeah, so
okay.
It was
but
kind
he's
of.
Going to
It
be
was
all
kind
right
of
for Sunday.
He should be all right. But then the thing is, the way I look at it, I am so happy and so pumped with Diaz. He's come in, he's fitted in like that missing piece in the jigsaw, right? Put him in a final, see what he does. You can always take him off. You can always take him off. If he stinks,
because I really don't understand why you're holding on to Origi. Pass the keys, man. Give me the keys to the bimmer.
One sec. Jurgen. Look, I'm getting pressure here, man. We need to to Arsenal, yeah.
Okay, Dave. What are your keys to victory on Sunday?
midfield battle for me. I think the last time we played at Stamford Bridge, I think Kovacic and Kante absolutely run Liverpool's midfield apart and really put in two performances that were world class on the day. Kovacic was that's probably the best game I've seen in a Chelsea shirt from him when we played them at Stamford Bridge. And Kante is N'Golo Kante. Like he's I mean, is he?
Oh, we lost Dave. I don't know what happened. Anyway, hopefully he'll get back in. He may have accidentally touched the wrong button. He may have lost power. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, there's the big game on Sunday.
Sorry, I got kicked out.
There we go.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah, just to kind of go back on that, like Kante and Kovacic are crucial, and it was a game where we didn't even play with Lukaku at Stamford Bridge, and we literally. I think everyone was surprised, Neil, when we played at Stamford Bridge, and with the energy that we come out with, and I know we conceded goals there, and it was like really against the run of play, I thought, at Stamford Bridge when we conceded the goals.
Definitely. But the thing with LFC, though, unfortunately, the thing with LFC, you put them under a bit of pressure, and they crack. And we get away with it from the lower teams so much, but once we start playing the top teams, once we crack, we start leaking goals in, and that's for me, that is the issue. So that's why I'm saying that it's going to be won and lost for Liverpool on the front three and the back four. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the midfield. I'm not too worried about midfield, who he plays in the midfield. If our defense is not watertight, we're going to lose the game. Yeah, and we have to make sure we have your guys on point, and we've got to play defensively. We've got to play a lot stronger, especially against you guys.
I thought a key would be keep Kante on a leash. If you can keep Kante from impacting the game to a massive amount, for me, you've won the game. I think this game comes down to, can you keep Kante from being that destroyer? And also going forward, he's a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for now when he drives at defenders.
He is, but that's your key. But then you've got to remember that we've got three up front. Yeah, we've got good wingers who are playing the ball in. Alexander Arnold, you've got to keep Alexander Arnold out. You've got to keep Robertson out. Yeah, you've got to stop them from linking with the front three. Yeah, and whenever one of them run forward, we got Fabinho who's going to go back and help defend. Yeah, we don't have that issue. What if oh God, what's that Brazilian's name? I can see his face. I keep forgetting his name.
Put it this way. I'll kind of end this on basically saying Tuchel has taken us to every cup final since he's been in management. Let that sink in. And I think the League Cup, for me, is down to N'Golo Kante and being another big-time player. If he's a big-time player, we win. If he doesn't, and if you can kind of keep him quiet, I think Liverpool have this in the bag. But yeah.
Yeah. Remember, you're only talking about one player.
But he's a bloody big player, I tell you.
No, he's a big player. I'm not saying not, but you're talking about one player.
When N'Golo Kante is on his money, the whole of Chelsea ticks like a bomb. It's like attacks galore, shuts everything down that comes through the middle. The guy is unbelievable.
We're like that. We're like that with our wingers. Yeah, you keep them out the game, you'll win the game. You definitely keep them out. Yeah, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what mental games they play with each other. What Klopp does. We don't even know who he's going to play. We have a good idea of who he's going to play, but you know what? He may decide to think, because realistically, when we started in this competition, he was playing the youngsters and stuff. And for me, I would prefer him to have stayed with that. And now they're there. Just put the youngsters in, win or lose. Put the youngsters in. Give them that experience.
Here we go. $1 million question then. Score for Sunday, Neil.
3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. Yeah, 3-1. Dave?
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea.
There you go.
So I got the deciding vote on this one. Where do I go? Where does my loyalty lie?
It's not about loyalty. It's about what you see, mate.
Well, I got to be honest with you. Dave, I think you've convinced me with the Tuchel finals argument. because the man's record since arriving at Chelsea in finals is ridiculous. So I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I had a scan over the games over the weekend in the Premier League. It's kind of like a top versus bottom all the way down. You know, we've got Leeds against Tottenham, Brentford, Newcastle, Brighton, Aston Villa. Got the right ones? Yeah. Palace against Burnley, Man United, Watford, Everton, Man City. Top v bottom most of the way. A couple of middle ones. The most exciting game for me in the Prem is actually Sunday. West Ham at home to Wolves. Give us your prediction on that last one.
The way things have been going at the moment, I think that's going to be a draw. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a quality game, but it's going to be a draw because I mean they're both shooting for top four, and do you know what? It's whoever wants it more in that game. Whoever wants it more will get it.
So you're going with.
Okay, well, okay. I think Wolves are going to shock West Ham.
Okay.
I think they're going to shock West Ham.
I was agreeing with everything that Neil said until he said Wolves going to win. I thought you was going to go for a draw. I thought, yeah, that's the way you're speaking. You're going to say a draw, and I think draw. I think 2.
Okay.
I like to be controversial, Dave.
I'm going to split you. I'm going to go with a West Ham win. They do well at home.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a good game, good close game.
It's a very good game. That's why I kind of thought, you know what, I can't pass on that one. That looks like a very good game for Sunday. But as I said, Saturday's games are pretty much, I think most of them are going to be quite easy to predict.
The game to watch will be the Brentford
exception against.
Now the Brentford Newcastle game is the game to watch, man. Brentford Newcastle game, that's the game to watch.
Yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. It's been amazing as always. I kind of teased you guys today because I'm wearing one of my classic. I was gonna
bring that up. I was gonna say. Normally, you say, "Who does this shirt remind you of?" When you wear it, and I've got 2 players: Rui Costa, and Gabriel Batistuta.
Neil, who does it remind you of?
Both, same here. I can't think of anyone else.
Batistuta, there we go.
Yeah. Just so you know, guys, this is actually worn by Gabriel. Oh, that arm, isn't it? Calcio.
Nice.
Given to me by a good friend in the game who managed to get this from the president of Fiorentina. So yeah, great guys to see you again. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the game on Sunday. To the victor will be the spoils. Hope to see you guys next week.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for people. Have a good weekend. See you later.
Take care, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Guys. Bye.
Cool.